Obama, we also covered this last year, is planning on putting monitors for, quote, bias and to track how you news gather in, quote, all newsrooms. A unprecedented FCC power grab, because the FCC is only over broadcast, and what's over the broadcast, not the content. And this really is unprecedented tyranny. Well, when DrudgeReport.com and others began to carry it earlier in the week, it is now spilled out into the mainstream media today and yesterday, and there is now a national debate happening. Judge Napolitano, government monitoring newsrooms, radical new era of tyranny. Judge Andrew Napolitano warns the Obama administration plan to have FCC bureaucrats monitor a newsroom represents a radical new era of tyranny and would squash freedom of the press. Yes, it is a radical new era of tyranny. As Ted Cruz has said, Obama is frightening and dangerous. As I've said, he is trying to become a dictator 2.0 for the bureaucracy and the special interest. Set the precedent that a president can do whatever he wants. This is a real issue. And people say, oh, don't be so radical. When you're faced with radical government, when you're faced with radical extremist behavior, that's what it is. And so many times in history, I know I beat this dead horse, so many times in history, over and over again, people are faced with a Lenin, a Stalin, a Hitler, a Mao, a Napoleon, a Pol Pot, a Fidel Castro, and they just don't want to admit that, oh, they're having tyranny in their time. They don't want to admit that, and so they basically fall to it. Because, oh, this couldn't be happening to me. Rick Linklater, the director, good friend of mine, like 15 years ago when I first met him, in my first meeting with him, he was a listener to my radio show, and he wanted to meet me, so I went down to his studios, and I went there for like an hour-and-a-half meeting with him in his office. It was almost like being in a psychologist's office or something, and he was just intensely talking to me, and he said, you know, the problem is people expect a dictator to show up like Hitler in a funny little suit and a funny little mustache. Each generation doesn't recognize how the tyranny shows up in their time. And of course, that's simple for me to know today, but it was fundamental. Then I was like, oh, I guess you're right. And he was explaining to me why people didn't understand it. And he was saying you have to connect what happened in the past visually and audibly and semantically to what's happening now. Because he goes, I know you're a smart guy and mean well and you're young. I mean, I was like 25 years old then, 40 now. But now here we are all these years later, and it's just all out in the open in our face. But this is a big deal, what we see unfolding on every front, and we've got to respond to it properly. If we don't run around and get upset about it, no one else around us will think there's a problem. And I'm not saying put on an act. I don't get up here and yell and scream on air as an act. But sometimes I dress up like Cobra Commander or the Joker to do a skit, and then that's an act. But it's what I believe. I'm using satire to illustrate something I believe in my heart to try to wake people up. Do you see what I'm saying? But organically, the reason I've been somewhat successful, wildly successful on many fronts, waking people up. In fact, if you talk to most new libertarians or people that are aware of the New World Order now, anywhere in the world, they'll say Alex Jones. Alex Jones, 9 times out of 10. Alex Jones got me to think first. And it's not because I'm that eloquent or I'm that good of a guy, but I did it at an organic, primitive level, get upset, have high energy, and yell and scream and hyperventilate and beat the table because I'm desperate and I'm frustrated, and that's what will get your fellow man moving. I mean, if you go to Hollywood renditions of things like 300 that has a lot of fiction in it, but a lot of historical truth in it as well, you've got a rousing speech there about we've got to be ready to die for our republic and have the glory of being real men here today. Are you with me? Or the William Wallace speech that really happened about many years from now lying in our beds. What would you give just once to come back here and tell our enemies, you can take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom. That's what it's all about. They tell you, don't have energy in politics. Don't get upset. Don't have strong rhetoric. Just go along to get along. That's how you get ahead in life. That is not how you get ahead in life. You may get ahead in life in a corporation or a marriage or a business or at the golf club being nice and congenial, and that is how you should act in nice company. But you do not do that with a predatory global corporate takeover coming in and taking over. If you sit there and just mince words with it, we're going to lose. If you get aggressive, get out of your comfort zone, get angry, take action, tell it like it is, people will hear what you say and they will wake up. I mean, what happens when a crow up in a tree while the other crows are down foraging on the ground? They'll leave a watchman up in the top of the tree. Crows are one of the smartest birds out there in major studies. All blackbirds are in that family of the ravens, the crows, you name it. They're about the smartest birds there are. They can count, you name it. You get a gaggle of crows, even bigger group, I guess, is a murder. That's what they call them. And you'll get them up there watching, and they'll flap around and cry, cry if they see something like a human or something else that could be dangerous to the crows that are on the ground. And that's all I'm doing is hopping around up in the top of the tree going, brr, 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 brr. And the young Turks will probably play that clip and say, oh, look at what a kook he is. He makes bird noises. Out of context, I'm trying to illustrate what I do at a primitive level. It's not that special. It's just that we've been taught not to run around like chickens with their heads cut off. I mean, Paul Revere rode around on a big black horse saying, get your guns and get ready to kill people. To arms, the redcoats are coming. The British are coming. Oneth by land, twoeth by sea. To arms, with other people riding out. I just go to Piers Morgan and say, listen, redcoat, you try to take our guns, it's going to start a new civil war. Stop acting like you don't want to take them. That's the plan. You're on notice. Oh, my gosh, it's so radical. Oh. But everybody knows about it. Everybody a year plus later talks about it. They sure didn't want me back if it was so discrediting, getting double their ratings. They're scared of it. They told me they're scared of it. They're scared of you getting out of your comfort zone and waking up. Now, there they are this year saying that his anti-gun stuff has killed his show. That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to defeat these people. We are waking the population up. We are taking action. Now, let's go ahead and go to Napolitano last night, or was this morning? I guess it was, Fox and Friends, talking about the new era of tyranny, radical new era of tyranny. That's right. It's a radical new age tyranny. Tyranny 2.0. That's what it is, and there's no other way to say it's anything else. Big red fire engine, big red fire engine. Go to the zoo, you're looking at a tiger, it's a tiger. Turn on the television, it's Obama. This is tyranny. I mean, you're looking at it, it's what it is. What's you going to do about it? Stop complying. Withdraw your consent. Speak out against it. It'll implode. It needs you to go along with it. Symbols are powerful, and the globalists have hijacked the symbols of America. They've turned them into their own symbols. Well, we are restoring the idea of the true republic, not the counterfeit globalist empire, by promoting the icon George Washington and others. That's why we're rolling out an 100% made in America line of incredible pro-liberty apparel. We are repopularizing liberty. We are helping fellow Americans rediscover what made this country great. We are the spirit of 1776. We are 1776 worldwide. We are all brothers and sisters in arms in the animating contest of liberty in the long march towards humanity's ultimate destiny of freedom. Visit madein1776.com today and vote with your dollars to promote truly made in America, high-quality products, and promote the ideals of liberty.